The security guard ripped off my sergeant stripes, threw them in the trash, and told a crowd of Gold Star families, "Real combat veterans don't end up like this." When I tried to stand up for myself, he laughed and said, "You probably bought that jacket at a thrift store like everything else in your life." I didn't say a word. That was 8 months ago. Last week, I watched him cry in court as the jury read the guilty verdict. Army security guards threw me out of an event for looking homeless, not knowing I was there to receive a Medal of Honor. I'd been sleeping rough for 3 months when I got the letter telling me to report to the state capitol building for a ceremony honoring our state's veterans. My dress uniform was in storage somewhere I couldn't afford to access anymore, so I showed up in the only clothes I owned, which were a stained army jacket from Goodwill and jeans that had seen better days. What the security guards at the entrance didn't know was that I was the guest of honor they'd been briefed to expect. The first guard, a thick guy named Ryan according to his badge, took one look at me and stepped directly in my path before I could reach the metal detector. "This is a government building hosting an official ceremony, not a soup kitchen," he said loud enough for everyone in line to hear, while his partner Walker moved to flank me. I tried explaining that I was invited and pulled out my crumpled letter, but Ryan snatched it from my hands without reading it and tossed it behind him. "Nice try, but we've heard every story from you people trying to get inside for the free food and publicity." Walker grabbed my arm and started steering me toward the exit, while announcing to the growing crowd that they dealt with this all the time. "These homeless drunks always claim they're veterans whenever there's an event," he said, while tightening his grip hard enough to leave marks. When I mentioned I'd served in Afghanistan, Ryan actually laughed and asked if I meant I'd served food at the local Afghan restaurant, before presumably getting fired for stealing from the register. They pushed me outside, but I came back 10 minutes later through a different entrance, only to have Ryan spot me immediately and call 3 more guards over. "This drunk is back and now he's trying to sneak in," he announced over his radio while the new guards surrounded me. One of them wrinkled his nose and sprayed air freshener directly in my face, saying I smelled like I'd been marinating in my own piss for weeks, which was probably true since the shelter only allowed 2 showers per week. Walker decided to search me for weapons, which meant emptying my pockets onto the floor and kicking through my belongings with his boot. He found my VA medical card and held it up for everyone to see. "Look at this fake ID he probably bought online," he said, before bending it back and forth until it cracked. "Real veterans have pride and dignity, not whatever crawled out of the gutter this morning pretending to be a hero." Then Ryan noticed my army jacket had sergeant stripes that were barely holding on with old thread. He grabbed them and ripped them off completely, throwing them in the trash while telling me that stolen valor was a federal crime. "You probably bought this at a thrift store and thought you could fool people into giving you handouts and respect you never earned," he said, while the gathering crowd of ceremony attendees watched in disgust. That's when I made the mistake of mentioning my Purple Heart, which sent Walker into a rage that had him shoving me against the wall hard enough to knock the wind out of me. "You lying piece of shut!" he screamed in my face while his spit hit my cheek. "My brother died earning his Purple Heart, and here you are disgracing every real soldier by claiming you have one too, when you've probably never even held a weapon that wasn't a bottle." Ryan pulled up a chair and forced me to sit while he called over more people to witness what he called a teaching moment about how to spot fake veterans. He pointed at my shaking hands and told everyone it was from alcohol withdrawal, not PTSD like I claimed. "Real combat veterans don't end up like this," he announced to the crowd. "This is just another drunk who wants to steal the honor of better men who actually sacrificed for this country, instead of just leeching off it." When he shoved me, felt the medication bottles in my pocket, and that was like catnip for him. He read the labels out loud to everyone, making jokes about how many psych meds I was on. "Looks like someone raided a pharmacy or more likely a dumpster behind one," he said while crushing one of the bottles under his heel. "These are probably why he thinks he's some kind of war hero when he's really just another crazy homeless